a story drops from the Washington Post that the White House, and you recall, the story has been, that came out, I guess, a couple of days ago, that first Michael Flynn lied about his communications with the Russian ambassador in terms of when he had those communications, how much of those communications. Then story comes out, it's leaked by the intel community that, well, no, we know what communications you had. We actually know what you said because we record calls that go to the Russian ambassador.
Head of intelligence.
Yes.
Strategy. Okay.
And it actually, Marcy Wheeler, we recorded this interview just about an hour ago. She's going to explain how that works. Why Flynn might not have assumed that they would have listened initially.
They tapped you, Dad. Such a Jew move.
And so then it comes out that despite his denials, Flynn did discuss the U.S. sanctions which had been placed on Russia in the waning days of the Obama administration in December, I believe it was. Flynn had conversations the next day with the ambassador and did talk about the sanctions, despite Michael Flynn's denials that he had talked about those. Then, of course, that put Mike Pence on the hot seat because Mike Pence had come out and vouched for Michael Flynn, saying he did not talk about those things. And now it appears that, and at that point, it appeared that Mike Pence had been lied to. And then last night, this last story, which was the last straw that broke the camel's back, was that the White House had been informed late last month, so at least a couple of weeks ago, that Flynn that Flynn had conversations with the ambassador about those sanctions. So just to give you a sense of what happens, Sally Yates had apparently told the White House this, I guess must have been the last, it was before the 20th, because James Clapper, who was the director of national intelligence, and John Brennan, CIA director at the time, also shared Yates's concerns. So all this must have happened closer to a month ago now. And they told the White House. They would have told, at the very least, Donald McGahn, who is the White House counsel. We're going to talk after the Marcy Wheeler interview as to what the White House counsel does with the information that the National Security Advisor has lied, supposedly, right? I mean, that's the story, the narrative that we've been told, has lied to the vice president and then presumably the president. If the White House counsel either maybe sits on that information, maybe just goes down, tells folks in the commissary, or if he reports that to the vice president and the president. So that's where we're at, folks. And, of course, yesterday, Kellyanne Conway was out assuring everyone that Michael Flynn is still their guy.
Basic question here. Does the National Security Advisor right now enjoy the full confidence of President Trump?
Yes, General Flynn does enjoy the full confidence of the president, and this is a big week for General Flynn. He's the point of contact for many of these foreign visits. If you look at the official schedule, today we had the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, here, obviously for bilateral meetings.
Okay, what's important of that clip is if you want to know what Kellyanne Conway looks like when she's lying through her teeth, That's what she looks like. That's what she sounds like.
Isn't that like a open her mouth at any time sort of thing?
I don't know. There was a calmness to her, right, that we don't necessarily see.
You're saying she gets less frenetic when she's lying.
She just slowly blinked her eyes a couple of times. I don't know. That's the tell. Well, should we watch it again? Should we watch it again? Because
Sure. I think that there's a complete fusion. I don't think she knows the difference.
I gotta think that at whatever time that was, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, the president did not have 100% confidence. Maybe it was 96. Maybe it was closer to 55. Maybe 15. But
Does the National Security Advisor right now enjoy the full confidence of President Trump?
Yes, General Flynn does enjoy the full confidence of the president, and this is a big week for General Flynn.
yeah,
It is the
right,
eyes. There was
right.
a really significant. You're right.
I think it is useful to be able to isolate it and just sort of exhibit it. Like,
Those
this
eyes
is what
are,
it,
that's a pretty radical eye. You know what? It just occurred to me, this image of Trump sitting Flynn down in an apprentice scenario and being like, I really like that you're a go-getter, you're aggressive, you're loyal, but you also probably committed espionage. So I'm sorry. You're fired.
Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Over. Subscribe.